year. And as you know, we brought a broker on last year who's guided us through the process and helped us try to find the best available insurance coverage out there. We actually have been working with PIRMA, who is the Public Employer, Risk Management Association. I can't ever remember that. They're endorsed by NISAC and covered many other municipalities as far as workers' comp goes. Traditionally, we've had traditional insurance carriers who are kind of dwindling by the numbers on who wants to work on workers' comp issues. So, been working with PIRMA for the last several months to come up with a proposal. They have our history, so on and so forth. But I'd like to turn it over to Leah just to explain a little bit what PIRMA is about and some of the reference. Have some performer that I want to share with the insurance committee. Leah?
Thank you very much for the introduction, PJ. Both Tony and I are going to go through a quick PowerPoint with you just to go over PIRMA in a nutshell, give you an idea of exactly who we are and what we do. So I'm going to share my screen. And is everybody seeing this?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. So for today, we can introduce ourselves. I know that we've got PJ and Chris. Tony Casaro and myself are in sales at PIRMA, and Al Campney is here too, and he is the VP of Underwriting and Marketing. And I know that we have Columbia County's Insurance Committee on with us today. What we wanted to do is go over PIRMA in a nutshell, talk about our partnerships, our finances, our claims management, our risk management, give you an idea of the types of counties, some of the county members that we have in our membership. PJ and Al will go over the cash flow analysis, and we can open everything up to questions and discussion after that. So as PJ said, we are the Public Employer Risk Management Association, and we were established in 1982, and we continue to be New York State's largest and most established workers' compensation pool. What sets us apart from our competition is that our association is governed by a board of our members, which are elected by our members. In our membership, we have over 550 municipal members at the moment, and that includes 135 fire districts and departments, 16 schools. We have 6 county plans, not unlike yours, and we have 3 other counties where it's not the entire county, it's just the county administration, basically. Another thing that sets us apart that we'll talk about is that all of our claims are managed in-house. We do elect to have a third-party audit of our claims division every 3 years, and we always receive really spectacular marks. We also have a robust risk management department, and all of the risk management services are included in membership. We partner with some associations across the state. One of them is the New York State Association of Counties. We also partner with New York State Association of Fire Chiefs, the New York State School Boards Association, and the Association of Chiefs of Police, New York State. We wanted to give a quick financial update. Right now, our assets are at $309 million, which is 11.5% greater than our prior fiscal year. Our net income for fiscal year 21 is $15.4 million. We have a cumulative surplus of $65 million, and that surplus has afforded us to institute something called Return of Member Equity, or ROAM program, in which we took $2 million and redistributed it back to our members to assist during COVID. And this is a program that we plan to continue even post-COVID. Our new business in fiscal year 21 was $5.4 million, and our retention of our current members is at 98% over the year. And as far as our investments, our income portfolio is at $245 million. Come on. Slide, please. Okay. Now I'm going to hand it over to Tony to talk a little bit about our claims management.
Good afternoon, everyone. PERMA has, as indicated previously, a very solid claims department. They are dedicated to the PERMA membership. Our claims management is responsive, supportive, and cost conscious. We require our adjusters to make 24-hour initial contact, both with the employer and the injured worker. Our EDI compliance rates far exceed New York State standards currently, which is set at 85%. Our report card for 2020 indicated a SHROI compliance of 99% and a FROI compliance of 94%. That obviously also translates into timely payments and an avoidance of penalties. We have expert in-house claims nurse medical management. We have superior medical support, modified duty programs. We can assist if they're not in place, and we are trained both in fraud prevention measures and subrogation investigative techniques. Timely case resolution is a very important part of our claims management. Our claims management has a very personalized approach. We advocate by utilizing our nurse advocates, connecting with our injured workers, and assisting them in guidance through the medical process during the course of an injury, which could entail utilization of numerous specialties within the medical field. And our patient advocates will work with the injured worker. Our adjusters maintain very low caseloads, well below industry averages. They're contained to 25 to 140 cases maximum, depending on the severity of those claims. Our claims staff has extensive claims experience, and we have a claims team of professionals with an average claims handling experience of 12 years.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
There you go. So, as Leah mentioned earlier, we have a robust risk management program for all of our members, and those services are all inclusive, by the way. There's no additional fee as a PERMA member. We have a full staff of risk management professionals available for detailed claim risk analysis, creating risk profiles, identifying high-risk areas, and recommending risk services. All-inclusive, specifically designed risk management program, tailored approach for client member unique risks. We have consultative risk management training and assistance with best practices, program and safety training with regulatory compliance and hazard audits, public safety guidance, public works guidance. We offer an array of PESH training, again, at no additional charge to all of our members.
Another thing that our risk management department does is they put into place initiatives. Some that we've done was a grant for police vests in order to prevent back injuries. They distribute police all of their what's the word? I almost want to say accessories. All of their gear is instead distributed across their chest rather than on the waist. The wearable technology is another ergonomic tool. Slip, trip, and fall simulator trains people how to adjust the way that they are doing their job in order to prevent those claims. We use a group called WELL for violence de-escalation program. During COVID and still to this day, we are providing PPE at half the cost to our members. And there's additional grant opportunities through their strategic partners that we mentioned earlier in this presentation. my computer does not want to go to the next slide. Okay. One of the other things we wanted to mention is the county members that we have in our program. You know, Shenango, and also the years that they've joined. So how long that they have been in our program. The ones with the asterisks next to them are county plans, much like your county plan, and the others are just standalone counties. But you can see we do have our experience working with counties since 1996. Now, we wanted to go over some of the incentives for joining PERMA in addition to run over with you. What it is going to provide is the transfer of risk and long-term liability for incurred claims over to PERMA. We take on that risk. All of your expenses that you currently have relating to claims, including indemnity, medical payments, legal fees, all of those expenses, the fraud detection and investigation, all of those are included in PERMA's guaranteed cost program. You're not going to get a bill for taking advantage of any of our services, including the risk management, all of the safety training, all of the on-site training, inspections, all of that. We also are going to take on covering you with excess insurance. You no longer will have to purchase your own excess, so you won't have to do that again. And right now, that's a great thing because the excess insurance market is through the roof. Altogether, it gives you a sense of reliability and predictability, along with personalized service, and we pretty much take care of everything for you. So,
Leah, if I could, what
Yeah.
I wanted to emphasize is the last bullet point there is predictability of plan costs. Essentially, you know, by transferring any future risk to PERMA and doing it at a guaranteed cost rate that's put out up front, you are essentially controlling your destiny for the next plan year and beyond. We do anticipate over time that your costs will actually go down as compared to not being in a group self-insurance pool like PERMA. Who's doing this? We've done it successfully time and time again. As you saw, the 6 county plans, the 3 additional counties that have come on with PERMA, they're all great references for us. Feel free to verify with any of them their experience with PERMA, and we think it's in the best interest of Columbia County as well.
all right, that concludes the PowerPoint slideshow. I'm going to stop presenting. And PJ and Al, we're going to go over the cash flow analysis, but before we get to that, are there any questions with on any of the topics that we just went over regarding PERMA?
Yeah, I think maybe let's go through the cash flow analysis and then we'll leave it for questions, okay? Kelly,
Great.
would you be able to pull that up, please?
I can pull it up for you. I have it right here.
No, I was just doing it.
Oh, Kelly's got it. Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right. Can you enlarge it a little bit, Kelly? Perfect, thank you. First of all, I want to give credit where credit's due. Art Basson turned me on to PERMA about 1.5 years or 2 years ago and said, hey, have you talked to this outfit at all about workers' comp? So thank you, Art. I did attend one of their conventions, and that's kind of where it led from there. So I appreciate Art turning us on to that. What we actually did, Michelle and I, is that there was a very complicated spreadsheet that Al had worked up, and I tried to reduce it down to simplify it to make it understandable for all of us involved. What I actually did was we compressed the 2018, 19, and 20 actual revenue and expenses that we've experienced in our workers' comp program. And typical, we could go back prior to that, we could go back to 2012 when I first started, and every year is entirely different, usually depending upon the major claims that take place. So there's an up and downhill to almost every year. And you will see that the revenue has always been just about consistent. That fluctuates a little bit based on the salaries in the participants and also the assessed value. We're typically at the moment based on 75% of the salaries and 25% of the assessed value. So revenue consistently remained about 2.6 million throughout. That's the figure that we use to project forward as well. And like you'll see, we didn't project any increases in assessments moving forward at all. Not to say that that can't change. But in 2018, you'll see we had an excess of 508, and in 19 we barely squeaked by on 157. Last year was a good year at 820, but we can turn around and have a horrible year and be in the negative. We've experienced that previously. The concern that I have about this is, and on the plus side, and Leah hit on it somewhat, is the fact that if you look at the very bottom line, it's called the tail, and basically that is our county liability. Our liability remains constant at 11, 12, 13 million over the last several years since I've been here. One of the huge advantages we have in moving to PERMA is not only the being able to just plan as far as the cost, but will be the reduction of this tail over a period of time, thereby reducing our liability. Our reserve funding now is about $4 million, which is only about a third of the total liability that we have. So moving forward, if we move with PERMA as of August 1st, they would assume all liability of all new workers' comp cases moving forward. However, we will continue to pay off that tail, and those are projected on these statements. So the tail for the first year would be like 1.1 million that we would be paying out, which would also have us probably taking some money out of our reserve funding to pay this tail. But however, as you follow that across each year, that would be reduced until we project having a positive income. So again, these figures cannot be exact. They're based on history, they're based on experience, and depending upon the large claims that come in, can vary somewhat. But I just strongly urge us, I think, that we should move to PERMA, especially because it does reduce the county liability over a period of time and puts us in a stronger financial position. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, and Al can jump in, is the mod rate, which is at 0.77. My understanding is that normal industries, anything below 1 is very good, but Al, I'll let you explain that and anything else you'd like to hit on this.
Yeah, well, the experience mod calculation, anything under 1 is a credit to your what you get charged by an insurance company or a self-insurance group like PERMA. 7.7 is fantastic. So that means that your losses have been very good compared to other counties, municipalities in the state. You're doing really well. That said, I think we can take it to the next level and continue to get that number down. A lot of what you're being charged, unfortunately, is for your tail that is slightly, well, what did you say, PJ? It's like a third.
It's about 12 million.
12 million, and you have about $4 million currently towards that. So right now, because you're in that situation, each of your participants is paying a little more than you would if you were just going out to buy insurance today and not have any of that. So that's how we're able to keep that that contribution level fairly stable over the next few years, because you would dip into it slightly in the first year because you're keeping a bit of the risk to PERMA. Every new claim that comes in, PERMA is paying all the medical, all the investigations, all the IMEs, all the indemnity. We're paying that. And not only that, but we have to administer that case until it closes. Whereas under the current program, you're going to pay so much every year to administer that claim. So it's a little bit more upfront. So you're dipping into that a little in year one, but by keeping the contribution level stable, you're able to continue to drive that down and pay down your tail. And I can tell you, it does take a while. One of our best examples is Steuben County, who came on in 2012. As of this last year, they are fully funded for their entire tail. They were way underfunded, like you were in the beginning when they joined us. And over that 8-year period, they got to be fully funded for their entire 12 million or whatever they have. It's somewhere in that range. I think it's around 10, PJ, and everybody there. So the other nice thing about PERMA is that as a county, you have a voice on the PERMA board. You've got not only the Association of Counties holds a seat on the board directly. You've got another county member at Hamilton County. So you have two very strong voices on the board to help with your concerns and things like that. And we also, what we found with a lot of these county groups, and we have 6 of them, as Leah said, 6 groups with probably 200 and some odd participants, like you do. You have probably 30 or so, right, PJ? Something like that. Yeah, 30 participants. So all our county groups are very much like yours and have 30, 40 participants. Altogether, there's 200 something. Every one of those participants gets to enjoy the benefits of the PERMA risk management programs. They can have that contact with finding out what's going on with the adjusters, with the patient advocates, everything. And what we find is a lot of the county groups, and yours is run a lot better than a lot of them, I'll tell you. And I don't know if that's because of you, PJ, or who there, but you're doing a great job at running this. And I think this can definitely take it to the next level. But a lot of them are not providing that training and things to all the participants and things. And the other thing you guys are doing is you're paying for the volunteer fire cancer program. Fantastic. Was a great idea, and something that we're sharing with some of our other counties. So you can share ideas and things like that as well. So it does work. It takes time to pay down that tail and build up your reserve. Initially, you're paying a little bit more because you're getting full coverage for every claim and full claim handling for the lifetime of the claims.
Yeah, the other aspect I want to point out too, is Leah touched on it. It's kind of set up like NYMER, whereby as we move forward, there is a chance to get rebates back as well, depending on different situations and how we comply. So that was another enticement. So with that, I think we'll just open it up to questions and see if anybody on the committee has any questions about this.
PJ, it's Art. I've got a question. How come you guys only have like a half a dozen counties? Why don't you have them all?
A lot of the counties are you have high retentions that you want to self-insure a portion of the risk yourselves. A lot of the counties were set up that way, where you wanted to take the first, $300,000, $400,000 of every claim. And the comp board did not want us providing what we consider a large deductible or a self-insured retention policy. This is a first dollar policy. Of our 6 groups that are in PERMA, county groups, 5 of them have a high retention like you. You guys have a 700,000, I think, currently, retention per claim. 5 of our groups have that. The last group, Cortland County, that joined this year, came in on a first dollar plan, much like you're looking at here. The comp board a few years ago said, we don't like that you guys are doing deductibles. If I'm using the term deductible, but it's self-insured retention. we don't want permit provide or offering that right now. So we're in a period where we're negotiating with the comp board to open up that ability again to be able to provide. If you wanted to keep 400,000 per claim, we'd like you to be able to do that. I think it's great to be able to do that. And we currently are working on creating what's called company. And I don't want to get into too much detail on that because it's a whole nother discussion. But as of January, sometime between January and June of next year, if we proceed with this, creating this captive, we would be able to offer you a deductible again if you wanted it. But it's very, very viable, as you can see from the analysis that PJ has in front of you there, to go to first dollar for you guys.
Art, if I could just point out as well, a lot of the self-insured county programs, the 1950s, so they were created a long time ago, before PERMA was even in existence. PERMA's only been around since 1982. So a lot of those programs are long-term established programs, and some of the counties are, determined to keep them, to keep control of them in all aspects. The insurance, again, that's becoming a little bit more difficult in the current pandemic.
Look, I understand you guys have been around for 40 years. The counties have done a lot of self-insurance programs like we have been doing. But I guess what puzzles me is why more counties haven't opted to change the way they do business, the way we're considering changing, to go to your program. What is it about the self-insurance deductible programs that all these counties have that makes it seem more attractive to them? Over 40 years, only getting a half a dozen of these counties makes me wonder what it is that nobody is happy about.
There's a few factors. The last few years are what I said, is the comp board said, we don't want you to offer deductibles to county groups. They said, we don't want you to do that. We want you to go through and negotiate with the legislator about getting regulations passed that allow groups like PERMA to provide high retentions or high deductibles. That doesn't apply to what the plan you're looking at. The plan you're looking at is if all the counties were run as well as yours has been run, they could do this like you could. A lot of them are underfunded to the point where they don't have either any reserve, that you have to pay for first dollar coverage of, and in this case, it's a 1.6 million, I think is what it's showing on there. 1.6 million, that's full coverage, but you also have to continue paying that tail. And thankfully, you have about almost $4 million in the bank to pay the tail. If you didn't have that, you'd be doubling up your coverage. You'd have to pay for first dollar plus this big tail amount, and they can't afford to do it. You're in a position where you can take and dip into your tail or fund balance in the first couple of years, keep your contribution the same, and start building that fund back up. Not everybody's in that position. And not everybody wants to. Some county pools have their own internal staff that handle the claims even. They were like, well, we want that control of handling the claims. We have people that on staff that do that. They don't want to transition, or they love their TPA that they work with. They want to pay, you can pay a TPA $75,000 to handle your claims for a year. But you have to pay that for the next 20 years until those claims close. With PERMA, you're paying upfront and saying, I'm paying you X amount of dollars, you handle the claims forever, you pay the claims forever, and you're done with it. If you wanted to go back to self-insurance next year, you could, and you don't have to worry about those claims that happened under PERMA. There's a lot of factors, Art, in getting a county to understand this pro forma like this and think long-term about what's going to get you out of that deficit. It's an education process, and not being able to provide a high deductible definitely makes it harder for a county to move into PERMA. Once we have that, I think you're going to see a lot more joining.
And no one's ever gone back. There's no counties that have ever gone back to self-insurance, even though that certainly would be an option. Conceivably, after 2 or 3 years in this program, okay, PERMA, we've had enough. We're going back to the way it was. You're not responsible for any of those claims that incurred over the last 3 years. We take on that liability. But at the same time, you would certainly have the option of going back to the way you were.
So if we convert to this program, this covers the county and all the towns and villages that are now covered by the county program?
It does. It does. We put together a proposal that included everybody that's in the group currently.
And does each town and village sign a separate agreement with you, or do we just participate through the county agreement?
We have one program agreement, but each participant does have to sign self-insurance paperwork, the SI-26 and a resolution. That's required of each participant by the comp board. But as far as your program's going to run exactly the same as you always have. If you want advice or some guidance on, how you want to break up the costs or what type of risk management program, so we're gonna help you with that. But the county decides, your board and your insurance committee decides how you want to run the program, how you want to break up the costs, but you're getting that group purchasing benefit that by joining with PERMA with 550 members, we get very good rates on our excess coverage. You get the share in the cost of everything, all the administrative things and that benefit.
It's a great point. So if each plan participant individually wanted to join PERMA, your rate would be much higher than it is as a group. So that's a great point. So staying together is a huge benefit to all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Art.
One thing I do want to clarify is that if we do decide to go with PERMA, at this point in time, due to the lateness, is that we would still probably have to contract with our existing TPA to handle the tail portion until about October 1st, Tony, is that correct?
That's what we proposed. Yeah. Yes, PJ.
So there would be a, slight additional cost, which I calculated in that miscellaneous administrative cost there. So, so just so the committee's aware.
Okay.
And again, there'll be some, consternation. There'll be some ups and downs going through this, but we'll get through it. They did send through a contract, proposed contract to sign. I sent that to Rob to be reviewed. He got back with some comments, and Tony has answered that. One was a 3-year contract, and the other was a termination clause. I have forwarded that on to him. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I'm sure those are issues that we can work through.
Okay. That's a great point, PJ. I forgot about. The earliest we could do is October 1st. If you want, and I know we've talked about a little bit about getting you on a calendar year might benefit you long term.
Right.
We could do the tail on 1/1 and try to convert it or something like that too. So I don't know how your negotiations have to go with your current TPA. Should you decide to join us?
It's a 60-day out clause.
60,
so
it is 60.
The earliest would be October 1st at this point anyway. But
Okay.
yeah, we might tailor this agreement a little bit to get us to January 1st and then move on from there if that's acceptable to you guys.
Yeah. Totally your call. I mean, it's very easy for us to prorate it and do that for you. All our other county groups, just so you know, are on a calendar year. So I'm not sure how you got on the 8/1 date, but
that was well before my time. And that was a long time ago. No.
Yes.
Yep. So anyway, we'll work out some of the details if the insurance committee recommends that we go in this direction. Some details to work out as well. But you will pick up the new claims effective 8/1.
8/1.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And every participant in your county group is eligible to apply for any of the grants we have with the police vest program, our firefighters. A lot of your entities have fire departments, and you have some fire districts in there. They're all eligible to apply for those, all eligible for all the programs that we put on. And the Rome credit that Leah talked about, the board funded it with $2 million last year. And just so everybody's aware how that gets divvied up, we look at 3 components. Your profitability, if you want to call it that, or contribution to surplus, We look at how long you've been a member, but also your engagement with PERMA. So the more types of training programs and things like that, and some of it can be online. I mean, a lot of stuff is available online now, but we also do regionals. We have our annual conference that PJ was talking about before, where he was trying to learn a little bit about PERMA. Each member in the county group gets one person paid for to go to that conference. It's not just the county. Each member gets that. So for what that's worth, I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. But the board, the PERMA board, will vote every October on how much to fund for the Rome program. And Rome is return of member equity, as Leah said. And we'll distribute back money based on those three components. So, and we would work with your broker and PJ and give you some advice on things to try to bump that number up for you and things. So
Great.
And as we mentioned earlier, that engagement that Al's talking about, taking advantage of our educational seminars, our conference, any of our trainings, those are all included in membership. So you're not spending money on those in order to potentially get more money back from Rome. Those are free with membership. That's of no extra cost.
Just so the committee knows, I've been including Ron in on this as well. We've gone over these numbers and he fully recommends it as well, just so the committee knows. So with that, I guess I'll turn it back to the chairman. You're on mute. Technology is great, isn't it?
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So PJ, what would you like us to do today?
Well, I'd like you to formally recommend, that we move to PERMA. So I do have a resolution to bring to the finance committee, which is next. And if you could formally recommend that we move forward, Ron and I are both in agreement that we should do this.
Matt,
Yeah,
is there some questions we can ask without the rest of the group there?
Sure.
meaning,
Just within our own group, our own insurance group.
So you want us to drop off now then?
yeah.
I mean,
Okay, yeah.
No problem. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay,
Take
thank you.
care.
All right. Okay, bye.
Very good idea, Rob.
thank you. Just a couple questions, PJ. What is the actual differential in cost here? So it's a membership. I'm assuming there's a membership fee.
No, there's not. It's all included in, if you look at that pro forma, it's all included in that base price.
Okay. And is there any, what's the negative to any of this?
The only negative is going to be the transition that we're probably going to experience a little bit from our people that call in here, or some of the people that go on workers' comp. They've been used to dealing with Melissa for several years now. But however, I'll be honest with you, both Michelle and I agreed. Melissa is great; she's fantastic. But the USI group that we're dealing with now is getting bigger and bigger. And less responsive to some of the needs that we have. So, but the negative on this, I'll be honest with you, is probably, Rob, it's going to be the unknown the first year in paying of the tail and what claims come through from the tail or settlements. However, I have to tell you, Al has informed Michelle and I that there's a program out there through the state that they're willing to help us with. The state may be coming up with money to settle some of these older claims. And we have a few members that have been around for years that collect every week. And the state is, maybe the Workers' Comp Board is going to come up with some money that would be available to us to help settle these out. So again, we got none of that information from USI. We're not even a member of PERMA yet, nor do we participate, but yet they're forthcoming with this information. And I have to tell you, I think that's a big plus.
So some of these claims that are outstanding, or there's gap that we're going to have, that'll be covered by our current policy?
Well, no, we're self-insured, so it's going to be covered.
Right. I meant by our self-insured.
Yeah. I mean, we have to pay those, and quite frankly, until they die.
And actually, after they die.
And Yeah, we've had some cases now whereby the state, we had a new one that came through, state had to claim some of the balance of the workers' comp. So it's become a real specialty.
Thank
PJ,
you. Go ahead, Art.
is it fair to characterize PERMA as sort of the workers' comp equivalent of NYMER? Are they a mutual, or are they a public company or a private company? Are they owned by their insured? How does that work?
I don't know. I got the flyer here. All right, to tell you the truth, it says Public Employer Risk Management Association, so they must be public.
I think that meant public employer, meaning people like us.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about their form of organization. I mean, I have this uncomfortable feeling that we haven't spent enough time understanding these guys. They're not that big, $300 and some odd million. I mean, what happens in terms of their protection? Do they have excess coverage with larger workers' comp or general insurers?
I'm sure they do, but those questions we could get them back on the finance meeting to ask those questions.
Well, also,
Are they a publicly traded company?
I don't know that, Rob.
I doubt it. They're too small.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm
PJ,
thinking.
that chart of the numbers was not large enough to read. And having seen it for 5 minutes, I can't really feel comfortable about the numbers.
Okay.
I mean, do we have to bring this to the finance committee this month? It seems like we need some more work done in the committee to basically understand a little bit more about this.
Yep, but I was just trying to do it this month so that we could move forward or not move forward with it, because our policy ends 8/1. So to adopt by the full board would have to be done in July versus, the second week in August. So that's my consternation in this.
I agree with Art. I'm not 100. I mean, I love the concept, but I don't know enough about PERMA to do that big switch. It's a lot of money we're talking about. I think we need a little bit more information as to who they are, how stable they are, how they're funded, how they're insured. I mean, that's a big thing to move over to someone like that.
All right.
I feel a little rushed, to be honest with you.
We could always schedule a special meeting
Totally, I'm fine with that, Matt.
prior to the
Yeah.
board meeting. As it stands right now, the only committee members are Art, Rob, and myself, and it's 2-1. So I don't see a point until we get more information. At this point.
Well, can we, PJ, can you circulate some information? Because this is actually the first time I've heard of this as something we were seriously considering, and we didn't get any material to look at that I'm aware of. So can you circulate some stuff that gives us more background and details on these guys and why we're considering doing this, and then maybe schedule another meeting for next week?
Yeah, let's get it in before the 6th of July, because that's sort of our cutoff date for in-person versus virtual.
Yeah, I mean, if we can do another meeting next week, we should have the ability to do virtual. All we need is to get some information here.
Okay. All right, do me a favor. Can you just send me a list of your questions that I can forward on to them and Rob? Okay.
I don't
Well, I
know
think
what
we
my
need-
questions are until I see the material.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to be away next week, but I can do virtual. But I think that we should get a little bit more of a, what sort of corporation are they? How are they set up? I mean, there's some things we could get, some more information. We can meet next week. That's fine. And we can get it through in a timely fashion. But it's a big jump to just move all that money and to do this without having more information. And especially if it's only on the three of us. I'm not comfortable at this point.
I will try to schedule a meeting for next week.
Fine.
If we want, and we decide to move it forward, we can always schedule a special finance prior to the board meeting.
Yeah, that would be fine.
And one other quick question. PJ, have you spoken to other counties that are using them?
Yeah, I spoke to 2 of the counties and they said they were completely satisfied. So,
Okay. Very good.
But PJ, I still don't understand their explanation for why they've only got 6 out of 52 counties. does not make any sense if this is a good thing, that all these other counties are wedded to doing it themselves and are not interested in switching over. There's a big hole somewhere in their story. And the explanation that they've only been around for 40 years really did not impress me. That's a very long time. And if this is a good financial decision, I would think a lot of counties would have taken advantage of it.
Yep, I mean, I understand that, again, you have to understand that up until this past year, we put $1 million in our reserve, okay, which brought us up to about 3.6, 3.9. Up to that point, we had $2 million in our reserve to cover a liability of 12 to 13 million. And I think probably many counties are kind of in the same boat.
Right.
And because of our experience rating, so on and so forth, they were able to reduce our cost down enough so that we could get through this and only pay out about $400,000 the first year out of our reserve funds, out of a total commitment of over $1 million on our tail. And I think maybe a lot of counties, my personal opinion, didn't have the reserves to be able to do that.
Yeah, that I bought that explanation.
Yeah.
Much more than I bought we've only been around
other
for 40
counties
years.
have to go back and raise the rates for participants to do it.
Okay.
So let me see what more information I can get. I'll get it distributed.
Yeah, send us whatever you can in terms of their company literature, their financials, the chart. I mean, anything that will help us understand this group as a company and a competitor, and we can go from there.
All right. I'm going to be like Rob. I've got to go to my granddaughter's wedding on Thursday, so we can do it prior to that. That'd be great.
We'll try for, let's try for Wednesday.
Okay.
That's good.
So we can get the information out this week or next week, early next week. I know I scheduled another meeting Wednesday, so I can't give it time right now, but
For me, the better would be early morning, Matt. The earlier, the better. But whatever.
I think it's at 1 or 1:30, right, Kelly?
Yes.
All right. So it'll either be after 1:30 or after the 2:30, or I'll try to do something earlier in the morning.
Morning would be
I will
better,
make
Matt.
myself available whenever.
Okay.
Thank you.
So maybe it'll have to be 8:30.
That's fine. I'd rather do that. I don't want to. For a
I've got
meeting,
a town
sorry.
meeting
8:30
at 9:30
a.m.
a.m. I know.
Perfect. I like it.
Hey, that's
All right.
me too.
Okay, I've got another question on a completely different topic.
Yeah.
And that is he schedule a session to talk about cyber insurance and ransomware insurance from the county perspective and from the town perspective, so we can understand whether towns should be signing up for this kind of program if they haven't already, and what kind of protections we need. As the more I read about what's been going on and the recent attacks on fairly large pipelines and others, it occurs to me, I ought to understand this better from the county perspective and a town by town perspective. I've started to look into it, but I will admit that I have absolutely no understanding of what at the town level we should be thinking about protecting ourselves from. And I was hoping we could get some insight from the county's policies and decisions in the past to protect itself, and maybe get an expert or somebody to come talk to the whole board of supervisors about it. So just something for the to-do list.
We can start with Rick Giuliano. And then, I mean, obviously, I believe that we have insurance for the county, but that doesn't necessarily carry to all the towns.
Right, Ron, I talked to Ron and he says we do have a NYMER policy, but it would be interesting to know what that is.
Okay.
And what it covers, because that would give the towns a guideline on what we should be covering.
Okay.
So I just think this is something that every town needs to be thinking about, and the county needs to be updating its, and we should probably do it over a period of time. It's not going to be something we do quickly, but we should start focusing on this so we don't get caught flat-footed.
Maybe we can get, because a lot of us have NYMER, but they're different, different agents.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a NYMER rep.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been doing it, Art, and we're using Matt Wood right now from Chatham. But we have been doing that for quite some time now. So anyway, I think it's a good point, Art. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all.
All right, thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll
moved.
make it.
I'll
Second.
second
Rob
it.
Klassen, second, Rob Begonia. All in favor?
meeting to order. We're going to get started with resolution number 1, and that is authorization to renew an appointment for one member of the Board of Health. The 6-year term of the Board of Health member Alan Topol, DVM, expires on July 31st. Whoa.
I'll move that one.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Station to fill one environmental health director due to retirement.
I'll move it.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 3, authorization to fill one part-time public health sanitarium due to retirement.
Move it.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 4, authorization to fill one position of Healthy Neighbors, Neighborhoods, Public Health Technician.
Move it.
We have a
Second.
second? Kippy second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 5, to contract with the Columbia County Healthcare Consortium to provide services under the New York Connects program.
I'll move that.
Kippy moved it.
Second.
Second, Chad.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 6, to contract with Care Management for All, LLC, to provide a support program for caregivers.
Move it.
Second, Stats.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 7, to accept funding from New York State Office for the Aging for the purpose of providing assistance and services to the seniors residing in Columbia County.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 8, reclass funding from state revenue to federal revenue.
Move it.
Second.
Kippy.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Did we skip 9? That's 8. 9 is not there. All right, do you want me to just go to 10 then?
Yeah, no.
I'll read number 9, sorry. It must
Okay, go
have,
ahead.
you see the blank page. Authorization to accept $17,501 in funding from New York State Office for the Aging for the purpose of expanding access to COVID-19 vaccines for older adults, and to use $15,000 of these funds to contract with the Columbia County Health Department to schedule and administer vaccines, and the remaining $2,500 will be used by OFA to disseminate this information and to provide transportation to vaccine sites.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 10, authorization for the Department of Human Services to fill a vacant 1.0 behavioral healthcare coordinator, grade 15, due to resignation.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 11, request authorization for the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to enter into an agreement with Northern Rivers Family of Services for the provision of residential respite services for identified youth in Columbia County.
Move it. Morel.
Second, Kippy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 12, request authorization for the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Columbia County Department of Social Services and the Columbia County Department of Health for the provision of 2 units at the Galvin City Civil Motel for COVID-19 quarantine use.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Chairman Guzzi, could I just say something on that resolution, even though I'm not on finance?
Yes.
So I just have a little bit of a concern. I understand the need for that, but I have a little bit of a concern with doing COVID housing in a motel where we also do homeless housing. I feel like there could be a potential irresponsibility there of exposure and otherwise if the COVID housed people are not, actually quarantining the way they are supposed to. And we as the county placed both the COVID positive people or quarantining people and the homeless people. I feel like there's a potential liability there. I want to make sure that we've checked with the county attorney and that we've checked with the Department of Health as to potential liabilities or it just doesn't feel like the responsible thing to do.
I believe
There's,
the county
there-
attorney, I'm sorry, Jim.
No, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, I believe the county attorney has been consulted and they were okay with it. I know that Jack and Bob Gibson sort of made the presentation together. I believe it's only temporary until we do find a more permanent place if we need to. But as you know, we are required to have a quarantine house or shelter for anybody that's quarantined, and we're losing ours as of the end of this month because he's putting the house up for sale. So we need to have something if something were to occur.
They're also,
But I believe the conversation went that it was going to be until no later than September.
right, they're also saying here,
I just wanted to
There's
comment
two-
too, and I'm not sure that everybody's familiar with that location, but all of these are more individual buildings out there with outdoor access, so it is possible to do that out there at that particular location. It's not what you think of with a motel, so.
also they say that it may require the use of 2 rooms. So maybe that's what they're also planning on using too, because it says COVID-19 positivity and may require the use of 2 units or rooms at the motel for such purposes. So they may have something figured out, just, you know what I mean, of how they're going to separate everybody.
Do you know if the motel also rents out to the public and that if so, they're okay with having COVID quarantined people next to members of the public that are paying to stay there?
I may not be right with this 100%, but I don't believe so, but I'm not going to guarantee that.
But they have not rented to the public.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure. Number 13, see attached detailing for modifications.
This is the.
Oh, this is just
attorney's
a
office.
change in,
Yeah,
yeah.
change
I'll
in
move it.
salaries for his office.
Yep. We have a motion.
Second it.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 14, authorization for the district attorney to accept grant funds from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Move it.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 15, authorization to fill a full-time corporal correction officer position. This is due to resignation, retirement.
Move it.
We have a motion and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 16, public safety. Authorization to fill a budgeted vacant full-time correction officer position, and this is also due to retirement.
Move it. Second, Kippy.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 17, authorization for the sheriff's office to enter into a renewal agreement with Taconic Hills, Ichabod Crane, Germantown, Chatham, Hudson, and New Lebanon school districts.
Move it, Kippy.
Second, Seth.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 18, authorization for 3 sheriff vehicles to be declared surplus property and sent to the county auction.
Move it, Morel.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Number 19, public safety. Authorization for the sheriff office to enter into agreement with Greater Hudson Promise Neighborhood.
Move it, Morel.
Second, Kippy.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 20. Request permission to fill the vacancy of clerk typist due to a resignation. The salary said position is funded by the ILS Distribution 8.
And this is 100% funded. I'll move it.
Right?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 21. Request permission to fill the position of Assistant Public Defender, which is currently vacant due to a resignation. The salary of said position is paid 100% by the ILS hiring reform, including fringe. Starting salary will start at $70,000.
I'll move that.
Second, Stats.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 22. The public defender seeks permission to employ a part-time unpaid law student intern for the summer of 2021, running until September of 2021. The intern will work up to 20 hours a week, assisting in the civil courts and clients and family court, consisting of legal research and writing, brief and memorandum preparation, client and witness interviewing, review and preparation of criminal recovery materials, observation of court proceedings, and any other tasks assigned by the supervising attorney. The intern.
Move it, Stats.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 23. Request authorization to advise and fill 2 nighttime arraignment attorney positions for the remainder of 2021 due to the resignation of 2.
Move that, Kippy.
Motion.
Second, Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 24, authorization to place communications site at the site of Gallatin Convenience Store, number 2180, Route 82, Gallatin, New York, 12502.
Move it, Stats.
Second, Morel.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Number 25, authorization to enter intermunicipal lease agreement with the town of Chatham for land in the town of Chatham pending approval. This is to do with that radio project.
Yep. I'll move it.
Second, Kippy.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 26, authorization to appoint the Region Number 4 member to the Columbia County Planning Board. I believe that's Ed Stifler.
I'll move it. Morel.
Second, Kippy.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 27, authorization to appoint John Bradley as the Town of Claverack representative for the
Move
Columbia.
that, Kippy.
Motion.
Second,
Motion and
Morel.
a second. Motion and a second. Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 28, authorization for the Board of Supervisors to adopt the New York State Clean Energy Communities Pledge.
I'll move it.
We have a
I'll
motion.
second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. '29, County Government. A resolution against hate in Columbia County presented by Supervisor Hoatling. Did you want to read that, Supervisor Hoatling?
Sure. It's a little small on my screen. Thank you. A resolution against hate in Columbia County. Whereas recently as a nation, we have witnessed an increase in violence based on a person's religion, thank you, race, gender identities, sexual orientation, nationalities, economic status, and political affiliation. And whereas here in the United States, communities that have been built with the guidance, assistance, and leadership that is inclusive of peoples of all races, religions, nationalities, gender identities, sexual orientations, economic status, and political affiliation are more successful, and whereas the County of Columbia continues to maintain that all people of our community have the right to feel safe and be treated equally and with respect and dignity, regardless of their race, religion, nationality, gender identity, sexual orientation, economic status, and political affiliation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Columbia County Board of Supervisors, on behalf of its constituents members, do hereby state that the county reaffirms our commitment to a status of inclusion for all races, religions, nationalities, gender identities, sexual orientations, economic statuses, and political affiliations, and be it further resolved that on behalf of all residents of Columbia County, we maintain our position that violence of any kind is unacceptable and condemn any act of aggression, hostility, or violence against any member of our community based upon race, religion, nationality, gender identity, sexual orientation, economic status, or political affiliation.
Thank you. So we
Thank you.
I'll move that, Morel.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Chairman Guzzi, just for any supervisors that weren't on the last committee that it passed through, I would encourage any town boards also to pass such a resolution. It would be really amazing if every town in Columbia County, in addition to the county, passed a resolution against hate. And I did send it out to all the supervisors if you want to use the format or change it up in any way. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we're in Public Works. Number 30, a resolution is requested authorizing the chairman of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors to execute a quitclaim deed for the abandonment to Carrie B. and Abigail J. Miller, budding owners of a portion of county acquired right-of-way for the 1938 construction of New York State Route 22 in the town of Canaan, and no longer needed for highway purposes.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 31. Resolution is requested authorizing the chairman of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors to award and execute a contract for the annual 2021 multi-bridge repair and improvement contract for the lowest
Move
responsible.
that, Jimmy.
Okay,
I'll second it.
motion and a second. All in favor? Carried. Number 32, authorization to fill one position of highway equipment maintenance mechanic in the Highway Department Machinery Fund at 2021 Step 1 salary of $46,999 due to resignation.
Move it, Stats.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 33, due to retirement, we are unbudgeted senior building maintenance work position, grade 14A, and any vacancies that may be created due to internal promotion, and to abolish the senior position that is currently held by a retiring employee.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 34, authorization to fill the position of motor equipment operator grade 1.
Move that, Jim.
Okay. Motion.
Second, Stats.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 35, enter into a 3-year contract between Columbia County and Public Employee Risk Management Association, Inc. for the period August 1st, 2021
Jim,
through...
we're gonna pull that for now, right?
Okay.
Chairman? The insurance company had some, or the insurance committee had some additional questions, so.
Okay, so we're going to just pull 35 for now. Okay, 36 in finance. Transfer balance of .1 salaries for 2 employees from Youth Services Mental Health Clinic to Treasurer's Office, .1 salary line. Recognize transfer of staff to Central Business Office function in Treasurer's Office, effective 6/7/2021.
I'll move it, Morel.
Second, Kippy.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just wanted to say this will be a very positive move.
Yes,
With them moving to the treasurer's office.
working out well. Good.
Yes, very
Okay.
well.
Number 37, to purchase leased 2016 Dodge Caravan from Enterprise and surplus a 2005 Dodge Caravan.
Move it, Kippy.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's the last one.
Well, we tried getting you out of here quick, Kippy.
Well, I got them waiting for me in the next meeting, so we're 15 minutes late. Not bad.
Okay,
Thanks, Kippy.
That's all right. I'm glad you called me because I didn't know. So thank you.
thank you.
Have a good
Is,
day.
anyone else like to bring anything before the Finance Committee? If not, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Stats.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, have a nice day.
Just for the supervisors that are on here, we're gonna have, I'm gonna ask Rob Fitzsimmons to look at the change in the, meetings law. And we'll come out with something very, very quickly for the supervisors, so you know when you need to travel or not.
Right,
But it, just like the mask changes, they didn't even give us any notice. It happened today and it's effective today. So,
Crazy. I'd imagine the answer is going to be that if it's an open meeting, subject to open meetings law, it has to be in person. So anything that we invite the public to, whereas if it's, some of our subcommittee meetings that don't have a quorum,